very much for the feedback and for joining us for these. I do have Kaylee and Ben's joining me today, and they're going to help me deliver the content that we've got for you. So just to get started, I'm going to start with a basic overview of the Horizon platform, specifically the commercial CB platform. And then Ben's is going to take us through some current trends and stats and figures. Then Kaylee's going to join us to take us through some recent marketing activity. I'll talk a bit about some upcoming events that we've got going on and partnership and sponsorship opportunities. And then a really quick overview of the service package and a reminder of what is included in there. So to get started, and I know that we've talked about the CB commercial platform in the past, but I did just want to give a little bit more information and give you some kind of insight in terms of how you can use it. So we get a number of questions from certification bodies on a regular basis for things that they want to use in marketing materials, building business cases, for use in customer presentations and all kinds of other things. So these questions that I've got up here on my screen, I have actually received within the past week. So that kind of tells you how often we're receiving these questions and how useful the information is. So some of the things we get asked are, what are the top nonconformities for a specific standard? How are we tracking in terms of our KPIs? What's my certification body's particular market share? How many certificates are in a specific country in terms of all BRCGS or my own? And what's my growth rate in a specific country or overall for my CB? So that's just a few of them. And actually, all of this information is found on the Horizon dashboard. And you've seen this slide before, so I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail here, but I just wanted to highlight some of the benefits to you. So to name just a few, it gives you an overview of certification activity. You can drill down by standard, by region, and whatnot. It gives you auditor competency and resource, an outlook on that. It provides market share by country and standard, helps you to manage the audit cycle of suppliers, and provides commercial insight to identify opportunities for growth. So I did take a couple of screenshots from the platform just to show you a little bit more, diving into a little bit more detail. So this screenshot is of the site growth tab, and here you can analyze your growth rate against the rest of BRCGS. And again, you can drill down by standard, by country, by continent, and by time frame. For example, here we've chosen the food standard, and we're interested specifically in China. And the information is shown in different ways right on the dashboard itself, but you can also export the data and manipulate it however you want. And then this next slide is an example of how you can view the top nonconformity data. So again, you can drill down to the standard and the region. And this is really just the tip of the iceberg, what I've shown you here today. There's really so much valuable information available on the platform. And we don't have enough time to go into a full demo today, but if you are interested in receiving a demo, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to take you through that. So I'm going to hand it over to Ben's now, and Ben's is going to take you through some of the stats and figures.
Thank you, Jess. These are numbers that have just been shared at the end of October, which is essentially November beginning. So very, very fresh. We're currently at about 33,780 sites with a very good growth happening for BRCGS, especially in food packaging and storage and distribution. These are the three standards that have been leaders for BRCGS for a very long time. And in the foreseeable future, we do not see that changing in any shape or form. But we've also been adding the free from standards and ETRS as well, slow but steady pace there happening. In terms of the countries, we've got United Kingdom that kind of leads. These are the top 10 where we kind of operate. And amongst this, the biggest change that we think will happen is China will kind of become number one by possibly sometime next year. We're talking about 2024, and the United Kingdom will kind of slip into the second place. Other than that, we do not see any major change happening in this. But what we've also started to see is some of the sites below the 10th number kind of slowly and steadily growing. We've also added a lot of sites in countries that we weren't operating in earlier. So that's kind of a welcome change. We'll kind of be able to share more information on that in whenever we kind of meet next time. Next slide, Jess. Yep. So I quickly wanted to talk to you about food safety culture excellence. Food safety culture excellence is basically a tool that BRCGS had launched a few years ago. And what we've kind of started to see is a huge conversation going on in that space. Bear with me for a second, please. In the last few years, in the last few months, rather, sorry, what we've seen is an increase in appetite, both in terms of wanting to look at the culture of an organization, also an understanding that the audit is just a helicopter view of what's happening, but they need to actually know what's inside. So what Culture Excellence does is it takes 20, 25 years worth of BRCGS data, puts it on top of research conducted by TSI, and kind of comes out and we've together come out with something called the Food Safety Culture Excellence for BRCGS sites. It is also open to other than BRCGS sites, but it is something that kind of relies heavily on our audit reports and the audit data that we keep getting from you guys. Culture excellence is basically a unique and powerful solution to measure company culture, and and it kind of measures deliberate actions, consistent behaviors, and shared values of an organization to kind of work on continuous improvement and create high-performing organizations. Next slide, Jess. Yeah, thank you. What it does is it offers a few things. One, it's completely anonymous. By that, what I mean is the same link will be sent across to everybody in the organization or a particular site. And depending on the level that you choose, because when you're kind of answering a question, you're asked what your managerial grade or what your grade is, which is in terms of a manager, a floor worker, are you in support, like procurement or something? Depending on that, the questions will kind of change slightly, but more or less, it's the same link that, not more or less, it's the same link that kind of gives you access to that survey. What that essentially means, that, again, is complete anonymity. It needs to be taken by a representative sample of employees at the site. But if you have a small number of employees only, we kind of encourage them to do 100%. It has a carefully constructed range and balance of questions, and it's designed from a psychological perspective. And what it's important to know is it's been translated in more than 50 languages and has questions specific to the business sector and employee level that we're kind of addressing. Next slide, Jess. What we kind of look at are these four parameters, and within which is people, process, purpose, proactivity. Within that, there are about 20 sub fields that we kind of look at. And together, they kind of give an assessment of where the organization is currently in terms of these four broad heads. People involves everybody at all levels of the company, and which is basically to understand whether they feel empowered, do they feel rewarded, part of the team, trained, are they trained and communicated with, etc. Process kind of focuses on internal mechanisms of the company and management control, use of systems, coordinating between departments and sites, consistency of standard and suitability of the premise itself. Purpose, Purpose is all about the vision and strategy and the values of the company and how employees kind of buy into it, and how does that translate into targets and measurements. Proactivity is about whether the company knows what the risks are, not just the company. What I mean by company is the people within the organization kind of know the risks, and are they aware of their customers, suppliers? How do they innovate, invest, and continually learn and improve? Next slide, Jess. Thanks. So what comes out of it is an access to a platform once the survey is done, and there, the online platform, you have multiple reports, 20 plus reports, which look at about 700 plus points. There are post-survey webinars. There's access to understanding what the strengths, weaknesses, etc. are. There's also the best feature about this is, like Horizon, it draws comparisons. It draws comparisons with your previous survey. If they've undertaken, if this is the first survey, then the comparison is drawn against the other sites that are there that have undergone. And when it draws the comparison, it makes sure that it draws comparison from the similar looking sites or sites that operate in the same field, so that we're not talking about a shrimp processing unit and comparing that with a cookie manufacturing unit. So because they're totally different process systems, etc. So it kind of does that like to like comparison, which kind of is great to understand where you are currently with respect to your food safety culture. So what it essentially is we've all undergone employee satisfaction surveys. It's kind of that, but with a very, very heavy focus on food safety, and with a heavy focus on the industry that we kind of operate in. Next slide, Jess. Thank you. So it's available, like I shared, it's available in 50 languages. We're kind of increasing the number of languages as we speak. The last translations were done to, and they were brought into Chinese, and we've got currently work happening in on the Japanese front, on the Japanese language front. So that's another new language that we will be adding pretty soon. Next slide, Jess. These are customer testimonials. We've kind of taken to show you two of them. One from a very, very big restaurant chain, McDonald's, who kind of are rolling it out within their supply chain. So not their restaurant, but their supply chain, where the manufacturing or the processing of their food products happen. And the other one is Almarai, from the Middle East, which is a smaller organization which kind of focuses on the local market. So both of them are very, very diverse, very, very different to each other, yet both of them have found benefit of undertaking it. That's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you, Benz. So Kaylee is up next, so I will hand it over to Kaylee.
Great. Thank you, Jess. So hi, everyone. For those that I haven't actually met on this call yet, my name's Kaylee and I'm the Regional Marketing Manager at BRCGS. I'm just going to take a few minutes of this call just to give you a quick overview of our recent marketing activity and what we've been up to. It's quite top level, but it should hopefully give you a feel for what we've been doing and what's been going on. So firstly, up here, you can see the Ask the Experts webinar. I'm sure most of you are probably aware of the Ask the Experts webinar series, but for those amongst us that aren't, this was a new webinar series that we began in January of this year. The purpose of the webinars wasn't to sell directly BRCGS products and services, but it was to try and provide some support to the industry with the challenges they face on a day-to-day basis. The webinars are slightly different in format to your traditional webinar, so there aren't any slides at all. Each webinar, we have a different panel of experts, and they all come together to discuss a particular topic. The discussion they have within that webinar is all based on the questions that have been submitted by the participants of that webinar. So as you can see from there, we've now completed 11 episodes, so roughly one a month so far, and it's been really popular. It's much more successful than we ever thought, to be honest. We've so far attracted 10,500 registrations across the 11 webinars. We've had almost 4,000 live participants attending, live at the time it's taking place. And then even once it's over, we're seeing healthy numbers in terms of the downloads of the recording and the on-demand version afterwards. So whilst as I said, we aren't directly promoting BRCGS products or services at all, but as a bonus, we have received a lot of lead gen off the back of it. And it just keeps the Food Safety 9 torch running throughout the transition period. If you're interested in having a look at the webinars, all the recordings are available on our website if you want to go and download them and have a watch. We've got episode 12 coming out within the next couple of weeks, so you can keep an eye out for that. Just as a note, we are in the process of actually confirming our schedule for 2024 for this webinar series. So if any of you would like to volunteer yourself or have a suggestion of topic or any ideas, then please do get in touch and let us know. We'll be happy to discuss that with you. Next slide, please, Jess. Okay, so here on this slide is a flavour of the content that we've put out recently. I just wanted to point this out because you might find that some of this content could actually be useful for you in your own sort of marketing and communications around BRCGS certification. So as you can see here, we've got some BRCGS case studies, customer case studies on the left. Then we have the top two items with the orange header, and they are different webinars. So they're not Ask the Experts, but they're other webinars that we've held around gluten-free and ethical standards. We do have quite a detailed webinar schedule. So although Ask the Experts is taking all of the attention for now, there are lots of others on our website that we are delivering, so it's worth taking a look. And then after those, on the right hand side there, you'll see there's two news items, and these are just examples of things that could inform your messaging around BRCGS. So one of them is an article on consumer products, and it provides a comparison table with the new US cosmetics regulation. And then the one next to it is around FDA recognition of BRCGS. Lastly, bottom, centre and right, you'll see we've got two new infographics there. So these were developed for the START programme, and they're to support START transitioning sites. One explains how to introduce the concept of culture and a culture plan for the START sites. And the other illustrates how the START programme is a stepping stone to full food safety certification. And as you can see, it covers it shows what requirements are covered at each step. Generally speaking, we always try and keep our campaign activity content rich. So if you have any ideas for collaboration or want to get in touch with us or have someone that's interested in doing a case study with us, then again, please do get in touch. We're always open ears. Next slide, please. Okay, so I've included this slide just to give you an insight into our lead gen figures. So the data that we have here in front of us is based on an average quarter worth of data. So you can see we've got healthy lead gen numbers from all of our campaign activity. If you look at the pie chart, you'll see that 40% of all our lead gen is actually for certification programs. I mention this because as our delivery partners, this is the business that's coming your way. So all certification leads are pointed to the BRCGS directory, where they can find their certification body. So we are sending monthly quite a lot of business your way, hopefully. The graph on the right there is a breakdown in terms of certification standards. So there's lots of fluctuation in this on a monthly basis, and it all depends on the campaign activity that we've been running and what's going on at the time. But as you can see here, the last quarter, the ETRS leads, which is the ethical standard, they've been the highest, which isn't a surprise as we've had sort of lots of launch activity going on with the new issue earlier this year. And it's then followed by food safety and STAR, which fits the pattern of our campaign activity. Next slide, please. So this is what's coming up for us in the marketing department. We obviously have a lot of general campaign activity that goes out because we have such a wide range of standards and products. But the spotlight for us continues to be on the ethical standard. And then in February, we'll be publishing the next issue of the gluten-free standard. So at the moment, we're very busy behind the scenes preparing all the launch materials for the launch campaign. Next slide. That brings me to my last slide. I hope you found it useful and gives you a little flavour of what's been going on and maybe even giving you some ideas that you can use. My email address is there on screen for you all. If you want to get in touch directly to discuss any opportunities, then please do. Be really good to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee. So we just wanted to discuss some of the events that we have coming up, or more of a reminder than anything. So we do have our BRCGS Connect Europe event on February 7th and 8th. And then alongside of that, on February 8th is the Delivery Partners Europe event, and both events are going to be held at the British Motor Museum in Warwick. And we wanted to just remind you of some of the partnership opportunities that we have with our Connect event. So you can see on the slide here, we have quite a few opportunities available. So we've got a headline sponsor, evening entertainment sponsor, thought leader video showcase, breakout sponsorship, and you can just exhibit as well. And then alongside of those sponsorships, you can add on a complimentary sponsorship, and we've got all of those listed there as well. Everything from refreshments and lunch break all the way down to branded notepads. So if you are interested in looking at any of those opportunities in more detail, please let us know, and we can send you through the full sponsorship pack. Moving on to the certification toolkit, we thought it would be useful to spend a little bit of time on this, as there are quite a few really valuable resources for sites, and many of them are likely not aware of what's all available to them. So all sites basically get everything that's on the left-hand side of the infographic. So they get a license to use the BRCGS logo for business to business. They get access to the BRCGS directory, which maximizes their online exposure to brands and specifiers. And then, of course, they get unlimited technical support through our technical experts within the organization. And then on the right side of the infographic, you can see that sites that are certificated to food, packaging, storage and distribution, and agents and brokers, which are our GFSI benchmark standards, they get the full service package, which includes access to Participate, which you probably all know and use, and it's an online portal which offers a ton of technical guidance, informative documents, and supplementary materials. So this is where sites get the standards available for download versus having to go onto the store and purchase them. We think that these resources are really invaluable, and they help sites to leverage the standards and support continuous improvement within their organizations. And then they also get access to our ethical trade and responsible sourcing guidance and risk assessment module. And this basically allows sites to be well prepared to meet brand owner requirements and cater to the growing conscientious consumer segment. And then Ben's talked a little bit about the culture, the food safety culture excellence module earlier. So sites also get an introduction to this module, which is tailored for BRCGS certified sites specifically. And it offers early insights into their cultural performance. The module accommodates up to 6 respondents, and it generates an online report which spans 2 of the 4 categories and 2 dimensions. And then they also receive access to Horizon Single Lens, and this is where sites can access a streamlined view of their BRCGS audit data. It's presented in an easy-to-read dashboard format, and the feature enables sites to collectively summarize their audit history, aiding in the identification of any trends in non-conformances, any grade changes, and performance enhancements over time. And then, of course, our professional program sites receive licenses for that as well. And this is our learning and development program covering the core skills and behaviors that are required to implement the BRCGS standards. The program produces basically qualified, engaged, and empowered leaders that can drive the sites forward. So that's all we've got for you as far as information that we wanted to share and slides. We did want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you might have for us, give us any feedback related to this information, or anything that you would like to see in the future. So you can either open up your mic or raise your hand or type something in the chat if you've got anything. Anna's asking, is the conference 1.5 days and delivery partners 0.5? So the conference is 2 days and delivery partners is 1 day. So the conference will take place on the 7th and the 8th, and then delivery partners will overlap with the conference, and that's a full day. Anybody else? Okay, well, we'll give you some time back in your day. If you do have any questions after the fact, please feel free to reach out to us. And again, if there's anything else that you would like to see in these presentations, or a direction you would like to see us go, please do let us know. We want to make sure that they're as valuable as possible to you. So with that, I hope everybody enjoys their day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.